Oh, yeah. This is episode 93, I think. Welcome back to Bumpin' Shoulders, a Sports Source podcast. As always, I'm the Hawk here with Nick Kappas and Chris Wilson.
Mom's favorite.
Yeah, Chris is our mom's favorite.
Yep. Sorry, guys.
That's the way it's got to be.
I had to pass the title on at some point. You know?
You had to retire the throne, you know?
I had to retire my jersey.
Busy episode. We're about to have Joe Cashin of 80K Fight Work calling in live to chat with us a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see how he feels about
our annual phone call with Joe. We gotta get a sound drop for that, huh?
Yeah.
And
annual phone call with Joe.
No, you do the music.
What the fuck, dude?
I hate that you have a different voice for your for podcast because your voice is usually so high. But on podcasts,
we're gonna talk about draft stuff with them. The Giants' seeming direction.
You look like you're holding back a mighty burp now.
I burped into the microphone, but I controlled it so no one's gonna hear it. Very professional on my end.
You look like a certain YouTuber we know.
And
who likes to hold back burps through.
He sounds like
Zach.
No. Before we do jump in, want to take we want to take some time to recognize our friends over at MyBookie.
Are you waiting for us to
.ag?
Head over to mybookie.ag and use promo code DORK with your first deposit. Get 50% bonus on that deposit, and go bet on literally everything. March Madness is right around the corner.
Literally everything now.
Yeah,
They've got jiu-jitsu now.
They do have jiu-jitsu now. Weird. They've got MMA, boxing, football, soccer, baseball, basketball, college hoops, whatever you want, man. Go bet. You can even bet on politics, entertainment. This is a great company. Very active on Twitter. They give out free money pretty much 15 to 20 times a day, it feels like sometimes. They really just hand people money to bet with. They're literally the sports book of the people. So
yeah.
Keep an open mind. Head over, again, mybookie.ag. Promo code DORK. You don't want to miss out on that one. 50%. That's a lot of smackaroos. If you put in 500, you'll get like 250.
You play.
Then you got 750 in there. Nick's ready to cut him off. Nick said, MyBookie, we've had enough.
Yeah. He goes, you play.
Well, I thought you were
so whatever. Head over to mybookie.ag. Nick.
You play.
You win. You get paid.
I like throwing you for loops sometimes.
Yeah. I saw it coming this
Chris,
time.
you excited to bet on jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, you know me.
A big jiu-jitsu better.
I love sports where like most of the time it's a draw.
Well, every time we did like MyBookie reads, you always went like this. I wish they had jiu-jitsu. And now they have jiu-jitsu.
I did. I said I'm not gonna trash jiu-jitsu. I gotta relax with that. You know, we did spend a lot of time on that, doing that. So, yeah. My mom likes the shirt, by the way.
Is that what she commented?
Yeah.
Did you already see
I checked it out.
She commented right away. She's our number one fan.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with Amy earlier.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, you said it was like a 30-minute phone call.
It was. We talked about it a lot.
No, I don't know if that's how it
Didn't
went.
she invite you to dinner tonight? Because she's like, Chris isn't going to be here.
Yeah, she's like, can my son come over? A.k.a. me.
Someone's jealous.
What? I'm just saying.
No, I'm
Amy
just
and
saying.
I go way back.
Yeah.
That's why you were in the call when she called, or you were in the car when she called me because she was trying to really get you out of there.
I don't know about that.
You don't even ask her how her day was, and that bothers me a touch.
That's not true. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction.
I said, do you ask your mom how her day is? And you said, not really.
You don't ask me how my day is sometimes.
Because I don't give a fuck, so don't use that as a correlation. So do you not care how your mom's day is? You're trying to say that your respect for your mom's on the same plane as my respect for you?
Okay.
What do you call me? What do you call me?
That's low.
Okay,
what do you call me?
Guy.
What do I call you?
Yeah.
Son? Nephew?
That's not what you call me. You know what it is behind closed doors.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Mommy.
Do I?
Call me mommy. Ask me how my day is. Let's move on. We got things going.
All right, Chris is controlling the pace.
Oh, man, he set you up there.
He did. That was nice.
Chris, are you ready to throw down some dunks this year? Do you think you can reach
No, I'm going to
around?
lay it in softly, though.
Chris,
I'll take the guaranteed points.
We played some driveway basketball, and I was kind enough to spoon feed everyone that came a win. Everyone got their share of wins, courtesy of the league MVP. How did you feel about that, Chris? Your first win in driveway basketball, maybe.
I felt awesome. You know, I felt bad teaming up, like creating a super team.
He felt on top of the world.
Yeah, you know what? Like, it was great to get that goal. The only issue is, like, people are gonna look back in my career and they're gonna be like, "Oh, he had to go." Yeah, he had to go team up with the best there is
because the
to go bring home a title. But you know what? A title is a title.
That was after you lost a lot of games consecutively. I think 6.
And you say, like, you're the second best player, but there's a point where we held you guys to 2 points.
Yeah, you did go through it.
I'm just saying. Let the experts speak.
Okay. Do you have an analytic team?
Yeah, they're working on it.
You did have a few little homages, though, huh?
Yeah, we did have a couple of homages to a legend of driveway basketball.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, yeah.
Yeah, he's on another
we lost
podcast.
Him, yeah, to a different podcast.
Don't check it out.
Nope.
I'm not even going to say the name.
They're doing brackets of something. Do you want to get our residential Giants fan on the phone?
Let's do it.
I don't know if oh man, that rings. We sound like we're on the radio.
Caller number
4. Hey,
what's
up, Tim?
Hey, Clobber, how you doing? Or Joe, sorry, very unprofessional mistake there. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
What's up, man? Don't worry about it.
Man, we've never called while we were actively on a show before, so that felt like a radio thing right there. Well, with us right now, we have Joe Cashin. What was that? We've got Joe Cashin with us of 80K Fightwear. Joe, thanks for coming in to talk about the direction or lack thereof of your Giants team.
Hey, listen. I'll be honest. I just got back from New York City. They're the talk of a lot of people down there. I don't know if anybody knows what's really going on. It's Dave Gettleman came out the other day and said he has a plan. I kind of would like to see what it is. I don't know what it is.
Well, I found it. You guys got rid of OBJ. He's a diva, and you guys replaced him with a solid Golden Tate.
Did we?
Yeah, Golden Tate.
That's a good trade-off, right?
I don't listen. The only thing I don't like about the Golden Tate, and I don't mind Golden Tate. I think Golden Tate's a great player. The one thing I don't like about that is that we have Golden Tate. His name is Sterling Shepard, and we pay a lot less money to have him on the team than we do to have Golden Tate now.
And he's not saying he's not 31.
I'm sorry?
Sterling Shepard's also not 31, so that's a big problem there.
Yeah, I mean, we've got him on a rookie contract. He's still very reasonable. So I don't know what the deal is with that. To be honest with you, I mean, the big talk is the Odell Beckham trade. And could we have probably gotten more for him? Yeah. There's been a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that's starting to come out. I forget the journalist's name, but he was with SNY. He did a pretty good comprehensive article the other day about the Odell Beckham drama. And there was a lot of stuff that was going on behind the scenes and a lot of stuff that was going on in the local news that maybe didn't get reported as much as it probably should have on the ESPN or Fox Sports level. But there was a lot of stuff going on. He was really becoming a nuisance. People forget he also has been dealing with injuries 2 seasons in a row. He missed at least 4 games. The last season he had a freaking bruise and he missed 4 games. I mean, I think we shut him down a little more than anything, but I'm not super happy with the value the Giants got. They were high on Jabril Peppers last year. He fills a need after we let Landon Collins go. He definitely fills a need. If they think he can come in and fit the system better, then, we just got a first round talent right there. If they can turn the other picks they got into something else, if they could turn it into a Josh Rosen, then maybe we're talking Gettleman smarter than everybody else. But at face value, it was definitely interesting compensation for one of the top 2 wide receivers in the NFL.
My big concern with that whole setup was, I mean, it seemed like just about 2 weeks ago, Dave Gettleman came out and said we didn't pay him all this money to trade him, and then paid him all the money to trade him. I know there's a lot of lying by omission in press conferences with NFL executives, but to just blatantly lie like that is definitely concerning. I feel like for a fan base to listen to their GM say that.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't pay him all that money to trade him, but stuff happens, man. Sometimes you just look at the team and you say, hey, he is just not what we're looking to accomplish. One of the most interesting takes on it that I see is that Saquon Barkley had a absolutely epic year, and nobody talked about him really. Yeah, he was mentioned. He had a great fantasy run, Saquon Barkley, he was in a dogfight for the NFL Rookie of the Year. He should have been a slam dunk unanimous, no problem.
Well, and the thing with Saquon, too, is that, I was talking to Timothy about it. I was telling him, every time you watch him run, he gets hit behind the line and still picks up 4 to 5 yards every time. That guy
absolutely
was fighting for everything.
Well, he's a phenomenal player, and I think what the Giants basically drew the line in the sand and said, listen, the face of our franchise right now, whether we like it or not, is Odell Beckham Jr. We've got a kid in Saquon Barkley who, let's face it, he's an absolute stud. He does everything right in the press. He does the typical Giants press conference where he says nothing, but he says everything at the same time. He's somebody you want as the face of your franchise, and if you have Odell Beckham Jr. in that locker room, good, bad, or ugly, Odell Beckham is the face of your franchise. So for the Giants, this could have been their line in the sand they drew. Hey, listen, we want this team to be associated with good quality characters who are going to play hard. Dave Gettleman likes the hog mollies, as he said, the guys in the trenches. He likes the running game. He fits what they were trying to do. If that's their game plan, okay, I get it. But with Odell Beckham in that locker room, it was never going to be Saquon's team, and Saquon was never going to be the face of the franchise. So it was an interesting take that I think on the whole situation.
Wouldn't you say that it's tough to build around a running back, though? Given injuries and just overall health, it's just not something that seems like it's going to be sustainable, or at least it has the potential to go wrong very quickly.
It sure does. There's every position in the NFL can be knocked down by an injury. I look at Odell Beckham. If Odell Beckham is his greatest attribute is that he is slicker than snot on a doorknob. He's fast. He can, his cuts are incredible. But I'll tell you right now, if he keeps hurting his ankle, he keeps hurting his lower body, that speed's going to go away. And when his speed goes away, when his quickness starts to go away, you're left with a 5'11" wide receiver.
Now, how do you feel about him landing in a place like Cleveland where, in New York, it was his show. In Cleveland, he's at least, he's got juice there, David Njoku, to take some of that heat off of him. Do you think that's a better for him in Cleveland?
I like what Cleveland's done, and I'm not going to badmouth. You look at that roster; it looks like you and your buddy were making trades in Madden, and you overrid everything and just gave Cleveland the best team. They have a phenomenal team on paper. The only thing that concerns me with Cleveland is when you bring in a guy like Odell Beckham, you have a guy there like Jarvis Landry. You've got the distractions of a guy like Kareem Hunt, who was suspended for 8 games today. You've got, some guys in there with big personality. You've got guys in there who, I don't know if there's enough football to go around to those guys.
But that's what they said about the Rams last year, too.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the Rams had to bring in people to take the ball. They did. Todd Gurley got injured. There was definitely, they had a lot of things going on, and their offense was high flying. And listen, I don't think the Browns are going to prove me wrong. I think they're going to have a very successful year, and I think they're going to win their division. They've got a lot of great talent, but they've got a team that has, if it starts to go south early, they've got a team that's built to bitch and moan, maybe not built to grit their teeth and get it back.
How do you?
So I think they just have to watch that.
How do you feel about the Giants with that Olivier Vernon trade and getting a guard in there, starting to build up their line again?
Yeah, that's one trade. I didn't love the Odell Beckham one, but I think the Olivier Vernon trade was beautiful for the Giants. They really filled a huge need there with Kevin Zeitler. He was Pro Football Focus's #1 pass blocking guard last season. That's something they absolutely lacked.
Yeah, 100%. They needed that. That trade for me was an awesome trade. I thought that was everything the Giants should be doing. They got a guy in Olivier Vernon who, listen, when he's healthy, he can get after it. He gets after the quarterback like nobody's business. Again, another guy who couldn't seem to stay healthy. You get a guy like Zeitler. Now all of a sudden you've got an offensive line that actually is starting to look pretty formidable. Last year the Hernandez kid came in. He was a mauler. Nate Solder, was he worth his contract? Absolutely not, but he's still a solid left tackle. We had a center that ended up starting like the last 6 or 8 games for us. And he knocked it out of the park. I'm blanking on his name off right now, but he played outstanding, and he's going to be battling the John Halapio guy for the center, but I think he's going to end up winning it. If we can add a right tackle at any point, and I know they're talking Mike Remmers from Minnesota, if we could add a veteran right tackle, their line looks pretty solid. Now we have nobody to throw the ball to, which is a little bit of a problem there, and our defense looks like they're going to give up 45 points a game. But
yeah,
they're slowly starting. Golden Tate came out today and said that the Giants aren't as far away as people think, and I think that's true. If you look at what they've done with this offseason, they've added a lot of former Arizona guys. And why is that? Because their defensive coordinator, former Arizona defensive coordinator, he's bringing in guys who fit his system, who know his system. They brought in Antoine Bethea to play next to Jabril Peppers. Antoine Bethea, yeah, he's not what he used to be, but he knows that system inside and out, and he's going to be very, very good for Jabril Peppers' educational purposes and to show him what he needs to do and get him up to speed. So there's been little moves like that I really like. They just brought in Marcus Golden on a short, 1 year deal or something like that. He's another Arizona pass rusher. They're bringing in guys that fit their system, and if that's what they're trying to do is unload the old guys and bring in guys to fit the system, then maybe that's their clear path. But with the Giants, what's really going to dictate their season, I think, is going to be how they go in the draft. I mean, their draft is going to be more crucial than I think anybody outside of Arizona with the number 1 pick. They could go so many different ways, and it's going to tell so many different stories based on what they do with that 6th pick.
Now, do you think they are in a total rebuilding phase? Because that's initially what I thought with the trade of Odell Beckham. But, I mean, they did, like I said, Golden Tate's 30. He's going to be 31 before the season starts, signed into an expensive 4-year deal. I mean, what do you think the direction is they're taking right now? They're still trying to win now, or are they just tearing down and throwing a Band-Aid on it with Golden Tate?
No, I think they are completely – they're not in complete rebuild. I think everybody wants to say they're in a complete rebuild. I think what they're doing is they're getting rid of some of the old guard that doesn't fit their system. An aging quarterback is perfect for handoffs. A couple of slot receivers are perfect for quick throws for an aging quarterback. I think they're redefining what they're going to do. They're no longer going to be these big play offense. I think they're going to go back to the 1990s Giants where they grind it out. They're running the ball, run, pass, run, pass. I think they're going to go back to that. I think they can be contenders depending on how the draft goes for them. I do not think the New York Giants are going to take a quarterback in this draft. There's just everybody thinks they're going to. I just don't think that's the case. I think they're going to go defense heavy. This is a stacked defensive draft, and I think the Giants are going to add guys. They're going to add talent and just keep building it up that way. The quarterback class for next year is so much deeper than this year, and I think that they can, even if they were to not have a great year, let's say they had a mediocre year, went 8-8, they had the 17th, 18th pick in the draft. With next year's draft, there's a possibility they can still get a guy like Justin Herbert. They could get Tua, possibly, if they're able to trade up a little bit. There's so many more quarterbacks out there next year than this year. I think this year is the year of the defensive line, the defensive talent, and you have to get some guys to go on that. And the Giants have a big need there.
Who do you want to see them take with those picks in the first round?
With the first round, I would like to see. Well, I'd like to see him get Nick Bosa, but that's not going to happen.
No.
He's going to be well off. For me, I would like to see him get somebody like Ed Oliver out of Houston.
He's gritty.
I'd like to
That's
see him
a
get
gritty guy.
Somebody like Quinnen Williams from Alabama. I see those guys as just being dominant interior players. I think that they're going to get to the quarterback. They're going to get pressure. They're going to eat up a lot of the space for the running backs. If you watched college football last year at all, Quinnen Williams was the best player on the field, no matter what field he was on. That guy was on another level last year. It was bizarre because you'd watch the games looking at the other players and he would just stick out. I thought he was incredible. I would like to see the Giants go with something along the lines of someone like that if he's available. Ed Oliver, I think, would be there. I wouldn't even mind somebody like Greedy Williams, nice cornerback. He fits within the mold as well. I have a list in front of me of guys that I think are can't misses in this draft, and I think Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, and Greedy Williams are number 1, 2, and 3 in my list. I think those guys are going to be 9-10 year starters. You're going to see Pro Bowls out of them. You're going to see some really good production out of those guys. A guy like Ed Oliver, I see a lot like Aaron Donald. I think he's going to be someone who's going to go a lot lower than he probably should, but he just puts up stats. He just performs. And at the end of the day, you can be a workout warrior. You can be a DK Metcalf who goes in and blows people's minds. At the end of the day, when I watch film, I want you to stick out. I want to see a guy who's productive. A guy who's productive in college leads you to believe he can be productive in the NFL. If you're not productive in college, I don't have the hope that you're going to put out production in the NFL.
Yeah, Quinnen Williams is, about as dedicated to the sport as it gets, too, because that guy would drop his weight in the ballpark of 20 to 30 pounds, depending on the type of lineman he was playing against. That's a guy I feel like you can't miss on because he'll do anything possible to be ready to play at any position. With the Cardinals at the first pick, just want to get your take on that. What do you think's happening there?
Listen, here's the thing with the Cardinals right now. Either the Cardinals are playing the greatest rope-a-dope in the history of the NFL, and they are just putting up the smoke screen of all smoke screen. They're just trying to drive John Gruden wild so that he throws everything in the kitchen sink to move up, or they are legitimately just sold on Kyler Murray and they're going to move on from Josh Rosen.
No, I've got Timothy has been watching a lot of film on Kyler Murray.
I don't love him at all.
Yeah, and he does not like him at all. How do you feel about Kyler Murray if he went number 1?
I do not like him one bit.
I think what this app. Oh, you can go ahead first.
I was just going to say, here's the thing I've seen about him. He's very accurate when he's throwing the ball without pads. He's very accurate when he's in a little run and gun type of situation. He's one of those guys that he needs his speed. I didn't think he had tremendous touch. I thought he did a decent job of extending the plays and hitting players when they were wide open on broken coverages. But my biggest concern with him, when I think about small quarterbacks, I think about Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, every time he scrambles, has his eyes down the field. He's looking for the big throw. He's still looking for that play. When Kyler Murray decides the play is broken down, he turns into a sprinter. Yeah. And ask RG3 how that worked out.
Timothy was telling me from watching his film, he goes, he throws the football like he's throwing a baseball.
Yeah, he slings it deep, and it's a beautiful deep ball, but if you watch him throw anything towards the sideline, like any sort of outside passing, it sails out of bounds or underthrows. I think he was horrible on outside passes. I don't even think he was at average pace. It looked like he was missing more than he was connecting there. And the best he looks is when Hollywood Brown was having good games. I love that kid. I think he's the best kid on that Oklahoma offense. I think he's fun to look forward to. I'm very excited for him. I don't know where he's going to go or who's even going to look to draft him, but I think he's going to have a great NFL career. That kid can move and get open like no one else.
I feel really bad for him because he hasn't had a chance to show off how good he really is. He hasn't had the opportunities with with the combine, and I wasn't sure. I don't know if he ran in the pro day or not.
I'm not sure. But the thing there is, like, you have guys like DK Metcalf who put on, like you said, a ridiculous combine performance, but you watch him and the guy can't get spacing, he can't get off the line, he just gets bullied by other corners. And then you have guys like Marquise Brown who no one really talks about, but when he's on the field, he is the most threatening presence there. I am very high on that kid. He's somebody I can't wait to see drafted.
I think Metcalf is very, very interesting because he's a genetic freak. But you know what? Mike Mamula was a genetic freak. Darius Hayward-Bay was a genetic freak. It doesn't mean just because you're a workout warrior doesn't mean you put it on the field. To be honest with you, I like his teammate there from Alabama a lot more than him. Was it AJ Brown?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I like him a lot more. I thought he had a better combine. I mean, he didn't have a better combine, but I think he improved his draft stock a lot during the combine because I think people underestimated how good he was. He was pretty productive on the field, and he showed his commitment to show up to the combine and do work. So
what's happening with Metcalf's combine too is that people are forgetting, like, he had a good college career, but he did struggle getting off the line. And when he got off the line, he would get open, but that's a big part in the NFL. Getting off the line is the hardest part as a receiver. That's what they all say.
Yeah. People forget too. He didn't play for most of the year last year because he broke his back.
That's a rough injury to bounce back from quick.
You know what I mean? Like, that's great that he's 1.7% body fat, but I don't need a bodybuilder. I need a football player, and I'm not convinced he's a football player.
No, I mean he's built to do what he did at the combine. That's the best thing that he's going to do well, is absolutely blow people's minds at the combine. But like you said, you watch him play, and it's not what people want. And as far as Kyler Murray goes, veering back to that, do you think this is just a case of people really trying to overcompensate for not expecting Baker to be as good as he was? Is this people just trying to get ahead of the curve this time and really overselling him?
Yeah, I think Baker helped him. There's no doubt about it. Baker's obviously a little taller. The trend of the quarterback now used to be that 6'5", 6'4", tall, imposing guy. The Peyton Manning giant forehead. The quarterbacks nowadays, they definitely are a more diverse crowd. With Kyler, I think he's exciting. He's someone who pushes the needle. In the end of the day, it's a results-driven league, but it's also a media-driven league. You get a lot of attention on your team by having your players on that top 10 at Sports Center. I think Kyler has more potential to get that than somebody like a Josh Rosen. The other thing that people need to remember too, and I guess not need to remember, but you can't have divisiveness in your franchise when you're talking about your quarterback. You can't draft Kyler and keep Rosen, because you're going to have some people who think Rosen should play, some people who think Kyler can play. It'll tear the damn team apart. If you decide to draft Kyler, you gotta get rid of Rosen.
Now, who do you?
And if you decide not to draft him, then you have to get Rosen talent around him and line to protect him.
Who's your number one quarterback in this draft? Who do you think is the best in the class?
I think Dwayne Haskins is the best in this class.
You and Timothy.
I think that's the general consensus.
I think Kyler's got too many flaws. Dwayne doesn't have a whole lot of tape on him because he only had that 1 year, really, 14 games or 15 games.
Well, Chris loves the way Dwayne Haskins runs with the ball.
Really takes off with those legs.
You know what, though? I don't need a quarterback who's fast. I need a quarterback who's elusive. Ben Roethlisberger's been crushing it for years. And he's not fast. He's a big fat guy. But you know what? He's elusive. He knows how to move in the pocket. He knows how to get away from pressure. That's all I need.
Well, and he'll play with broken anything.
I think Dwayne Haskins showed the best touch at the combine. I think he showed some of the best touch all season. I mean, the one thing I like about him is he doesn't have to have a receiver open. He'll throw him open. And a lot of the guys don't do that. I didn't see that from Kyler Murray very much. I think Drew Lock he's got a nice arm. He threw the ball effortlessly at the combine, which was impressive to me because he looked a little lanky. He looked a little slight. I think he's going to have durability issues in the NFL. To me, he doesn't look the part. He doesn't look, the NFL quarterback. I think of
Joe. Don't come at my guy Drew Lock like that.
Matt Stafford. I think of someone who's thick. Matt Stafford's neck could, you could serve chicken wings on top of his head, and the family of six sit around his neck. I mean, he's just thick. And I think about, to take the wear and tear of an NFL season, that's what you need.
Now that we have a whole year from the last draft, who surprised you from last year's draft?
Oh, jeez. Oh, God.
You're supposed to say Darius Leonard. That's my guy.
I mean, he was phenomenal. I think the guy that everybody thought was going to be great and absolutely delivered on was Nelson from the Colts.
Yeah, he's an animal.
I thought, you know what I mean? Everybody said this guy's can't miss. This guy's can't miss. I'll tell you, he he was a man. He was a beast among men. I mean, he looks like he just plays on a different level, and I love that. I thought he played fantastic.
You called
I
that
thought
too.
the Colts had a phenomenal draft.
Yeah, you were big on Quentin Nelson. I mean, he was a loved prospect coming in, but you were really pounding the table for him the last time we talked too. You liked him a lot.
I'll tell you right now, I'd have been happy with if they took him at number 2. I mean, I love Saquon. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that dude he's a freak athlete as well. But, Nelson's a guy who's going to play 13, 14 seasons Pro Bowl level for you.
Especially
we all know there's shelf life on running backs. It could be 2 years or 10 years, but,
Do you?
So, yeah, I like Nelson a lot.
Especially after you look at what the Colts did behind that line last year. I mean, a lot of their success just came purely based off that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when you have a great offensive line.
Do you think?
Do
you stand by the number 2 pick at this point with Saquon, or do you think that was possibly the wrong pick?
That's a loaded question, because if the Giants come out this year and even next year, if they come out and they win a Super Bowl, or they go deep in the playoffs, you can't argue with Saquon's ability. Do I like Sam Darnold? Sam Darnold, I think, is going to be a real good quarterback.
Oh, he looked great the last half of the year.
Do I like Baker Mayfield? To be honest, not really. But he looked like a pretty solid quarterback. Jury's still out on Rosen. I think Josh Allen is in for a rude awakening in Buffalo this year. They got him some talent, but I don't think he's overly good. I think he's a run first right now, and that's not a good thing for him. He's going to get lit up, and it's going to be lights out for him. But I like Saquon. I don't think I would have gone different from Saquon. I think he was the best player in the draft, and talent, you can't be ignored. I don't care if it's with the number 2 pick and maybe they say that's too high to take a running back. Kids set the Giants record in receptions for a running back, and I think he tied the wide receiver record.
Yeah, but
plus running for another 1,500 yards.
But, I mean, my only concern there is ultimately a top performing running back netted a small handful of wins, and I just think a quarterback's much more transformative at that point, and a guy like Sam Darnold, I think, would have been perfect to build around in that New York setting, kind of like the Jets are doing exactly right now. And I don't know, I didn't love the Saquon pick coming into that, even before he played. He's definitely a guy that's going to be a multiple-time All-Pro player. He's going to be a Pro Bowl stud. He's going to be one of the best running backs in the league until he retires, probably. I still think that's a really hard pick to make, especially when you're going into year 2 with him now, and it's still looking like Eli Manning's going to be at the helm of that offense. That's very concerning.
Yeah, but you know what? They weren't going away from Eli, and at the end of the day, you're getting a talent. You're getting a guy who's a Hall of Fame caliber talent. I mean, he was the NFL Rookie of the Year. If you look, everybody likes to look in the now, and they like to look at what the future can be. But when you start to evaluate what Saquon did last year, he had an incredible year. He's going to be the number 1 pick in probably every fantasy football draft this year.
Well, and he had no offensive line last year too. Like that, you also have to remember that when you're talking about his rushing and receiving yards. He had no O-line, and he was still that productive.
You just have to think about it in the sense they went and took the best player available. I'm never going to fault a team for taking the best player available.
I don't.
There's needs. Quarterbacks miss all the time. There's first-round quarterbacks that miss all the time. These guys could still miss. RG3 had one of the best rookie quarterback seasons ever. It wasn't sustainable. Guys have good years as a rookie, and they fall off in year 2.
See, ultimately, the same thing could be said for running back, too. It is hard to just judge after 1 year, so I understand where you're coming from there. I guess the jury will be out on that for as long as these guys play. Are you worried at all with the standing of Pat Shurmur if this season goes awry? Is he somebody that you think is going to take the blunt of their failure if it's not a good year? I like him. I think he's got potential to be a good coach if he's put in a decent situation, but they're not doing that for him.
I don't think he's at risk. I think if anybody's going to be at risk, it's going to be Gettleman. But the one thing you need to remember about the Giants is that the Giants franchise doesn't act hastily. I mean, yeah, we got rid of what's his name there, our coach a couple years ago. But he dropped the ball big time. He was just a placeholder anyway.
Oh, McAdoo?
McAdoo, yeah.
Yeah, he was just a placeholder, and we knew that. Nobody actually thought he was the long-term answer. It was just kind of we don't really like anybody that much, and all the players already know him.
Yeah.
The Giants organization in their history does not fire coaches very quickly. I mean, I remember back in the day with Ray Hanley. Ray Hanley led the Giants to some of the worst seasons in the history of NFL, let alone Giants history. And I think they still kept them for 6 years. You usually don't drop the person that quickly unless there's something catastrophic. So I don't think Shermer's at risk. I think if they have a clear plan, and all this stuff is run through John Mara, so he knows what their clear plan is, and he signs off on it. So they seem to have some sort of plan. Nobody can identify what it is, but the real telltale will be this draft. I mean, realistically, there's not that many free agents left to change a roster. The Giants are going to have to get good with this draft. And if the Giants come away with, let's say they get Josh Rosen for a third round pick and a fourth round pick, or even a second round pick, they come away with Josh Rosen and 2 stud defensive linemen. That's a pretty good haul for a team that can change a franchise right there.
Oh, absolutely. I think Josh Rosen's a guy that has a very high ceiling in the right system. That Cardinals setting was not great.
And you don't think a guy sitting behind Eli Manning, I mean, people can say what they want about Eli Manning, but that dude's the consummate professional. He works his ass off every day. He's going to show a young quarterback what you got to do to succeed in this league. So someone who had maybe some maturity issues like Rosen, you don't think he's going to benefit sitting behind just the NFL, former NFL Man of the Year and learning for a season? It's a no-brainer to me if they can get him, but that's all going to hedge on what Arizona does.
I think it'd be great. That's another reason I would like to see the Patriots pursue him. I think he'd be a great heir apparent to Tom Brady. One coach I'm worried about, who I personally like, is now I'm blanking on his name, the new Dolphins coach there, Brian Flores. With the Ryan Tannehill trade and them now having Luke Falk apparently at a starting quarterback, the Dolphins are a team who typically act with a lot of haste in firing head coaches. Do you think he's a guy that's at risk to be one and done with how ugly that situation is?
No, I don't think so. I mean, listen, man, you give a guy, and again, you give a guy chicken shit, he can't always make chicken salad out of it. He needs a quarterback. There's some interesting guys for him to take. I mean, that's a team that could make a move and get a Dwayne Haskins. They could be a player for him. There's no doubt about it. I know them and Denver really like Drew Lock. They could take a shot at him, or one of those guys. There's all sorts of options for him. Hell, that quarterback, Tyree Johnson from Buffalo?
Yeah,
that kid's been
Jackson.
Getting a lot of play lately as possibly a second rounder.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad snag in the second round. I guess my worry here is producer Pops here is a Dolphins fan, and I'm kind of not waiting. I'm not very excited for the day he comes in all bummed because they signed Blake Bortles or someone of that caliber. That seems like a very Dolphins move here.
He knows the Florida system.
Yeah.
Knows what it takes to play.
Well, I think they really dropped the ball in a sense by letting Teddy Bridgewater walk out of there, and I think Teddy Bridgewater wanted some more guarantees than Miami was going to give them, but at the end of the day, Miami's had so much instability at their quarterback position that I think they probably should have taken a flyer and given Teddy some guarantees.
Well, I
guess the rumor mill was he didn't want them drafting a quarterback in the first round, and that's tough to tell a franchise that, but Teddy Bridgewater would have been a nice quarterback for 3-4 years to kind of hold down the franchise and someone you can build around. He's still very young. He's only, 26, 27?
Yeah, but unfortunately, since his injury, he hasn't shown an even sign of good play on the football field yet. So, like you said, it would be a flyer, and if they plan on drafting a guy and he's coming in with stipulations, I guess I get letting him walk if he's going to be difficult about it. But I think a team I would have liked to see make a move on him would have been the Redskins instead of trying to get Case Keenum. You know what Case Keenum is. We don't know what Teddy Bridgewater can be. I think that's a team that should have pulled him in. And, why not? Why not take a home run swing at him? If it hits, it hits.
I think the fact that the Saints are willing to bring him in to be the heir apparent to Drew Brees tells you everything.
Yeah, well,
I think the Saints are pretty calculated with what they do, and
with Miami, I mean, they are cursed at quarterback position since they chose not to bring Drew Brees in. Since they let him leave, what was that, like almost 10 years? Oh, probably over 10 years ago. I mean, it was them and the Saints, and the Saints just offered him a little more money. Miami refused to match it, and they've been cursed at quarterback since.
Well, they've been cursed at the ownership position. I think that's a big problem there.
Yeah.
Very unstable organization from top to bottom, and I don't know if they're ever going to get the right guy in there anytime soon until things really change. They seem to have terrible player evaluation. They refuse to pay anybody of value unless they're a 35-year-old veteran defensive player. I mean, that team's a mess.
So, Joe, do you have a dark horse in this draft, a guy that nobody's really talking about, but you think, he's a must-have guy?
Well, I don't know if there's a couple guys I like. Some of them are actually talked about in the first round, but I think they should go higher than they are. The one guy that, if I was looking for if I'm looking for a player that was productive in college, he's got a lot of wear on him. He had some injuries, but he wasn't a very productive player, and I could see somebody taking a good flyer on him in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. Bryce Love out of Stanford.
Yeah.
That kid was a player. I mean, he did more with nothing for about 2 years than anybody else in college football. And yeah, he got beat up because the talent just wasn't there anymore once, Luck left and some of the other guys that Stanford had kind of moved on. But he's a guy who can play. Maybe doesn't measure that great, maybe doesn't run that fast on his 40, but when you see him on the field, he seems to separate. He seems to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield. For a 4th, 5th rounder, I think he could be a real home run. He could be a nice guy to come in, change a pace. Maybe someone to spell Le'Veon in the Jets, or maybe somebody to come in and just give some of these guys a break. I think he could be a nice little player. The one guy I really like, I always butcher his name, and I thought he would be going higher. It's Clellan Ferrell out of Clemson.
Oh yeah, that kid's a monster.
I love that guy. I mean, I think he should be in the discussion for one of the first defensive players taken. I mean, the guy's just a stud, and everything you read about him, everything you see about him on tape, it's like, oh, great kid, good motor, all the tools, right size, everything is right. You scratch your head at one point. You just go like, why is he not in that same category as Nick Bosa? Like, yeah. It's bizarre to me. He's someone I would really be interested in. And the other guy I think who's really interesting is what's his name? Josh Jacobs, the running back out of Alabama.
All right.
Yeah, he's coming off an injury. The guy's got 257 career runs. That's nothing.
Yeah, that's very fresh.
Yeah.
He's very fresh. I mean, when you're looking at a running back prospect, someone you can get with the 20th pick, 25th pick, or something like that, he's got absolutely he's got nothing but tread left on the tires. Running back's obviously a volatile position, but man, I'll tell you, that kid can play.
He's somebody who could, even possibly fall out of the first round and go early second, too, if things break right for certain teams. Now, I was talking before about liking Marquise Brown. I haven't heard anything about him. Have you heard anything about where people expect him to go? Like, what round? I haven't kept up as much with these mocks or anything.
I haven't seen too much on him. Early on, they had him possibly going to like the Patriots at 32. I've seen him kind of high. I've seen him up in the 18s. I don't know. I think a lot of that's going to depend on when Metcalf goes. And once Metcalf goes, I think people are it's kind of like when quarterbacks go. People start to get a little hungry and worried, and they start to reach. He could be drafted much higher than the 30s or the 25s. He could probably sneak into the top 15 if people just go crazy and they fall in love with him. But I don't know. It's with all the trades that have been happening. I mean, when was the last time you saw this many trades in the NFL?
Oh, I know it's like
insane offseason.
It's been
so
about
far.
the best
Yeah.
week in NFL history. I feel like it's been great.
I feel like I can't go to sleep because I may miss something.
Oh, I'm on Roto World and Bleacher Report. I mean, I'll wake up in the middle of the night to let the dog out, or one of the kids will cry.
You get a
and I'm
notification.
checking my phone, and it's like, oh Jesus, 14 people signed. The Giants traded Odell Beckham, and and it's insane. I don't remember this many trades ever. So
Now,
it's really hard to tell because it every time there's a trade, it shakes up the dynamic. Every time there's a free agent signing, that position no longer becomes as big of a need for a team. So it's been interesting.
How do you feel about Antonio Brown's stint in Buffalo?
I think it was perfect. I think I really do. I think it was perfect. You know what? He didn't want to go there. Why would you want him there?
Well, I think that showed a lot about how much power that guy has when he's able to stomp his feet and shut down a trade by saying he won't play if he goes there. I didn't know Mike Mayock came out and said afterwards the Raiders didn't even speak to the Steelers about making this trade happen until after the Buffalo trade fell apart. So they made this trade happen in hours.
Quick.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, you see something happen and you just kind of make a knee-jerk reaction to it, and then you look back with buyer's remorse. I feel like that's what Oakland's going to do with this one.
Oh, they gave up nothing for him. Pennies on the dollar. Get out of here.
You're paying him a lot of money. And for
Yeah,
past
come on.
performance. He's 31 years old, man.
He's 31 years old,
Running-
guaranteed Hall of Famer. You'll get a good 3
Wide
years out of him
receivers and
here.
running backs fall off there's no telling when, but once they do, they just fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah, but that
They
hasn't
just-
been the case as much lately. If you look at quarterbacks too that are supposed to fall off as they near that 40, you see quarterbacks sometimes getting better. Now the way training is done, it just seems like these guys can play longer and play more efficiently. And I mean, he's a guy that is, about as good as a receiver can be. I am very excited for that. I love Derek Carr. I think he's a great quarterback, and I hope they keep boosting a line around him. But I don't know. I think for a third and a fifth, I would have liked any team to trade for him at that rate.
Just be leery of speed, because once speed goes, that receiver becomes very, very normal.
So what do you think happens to the Steelers with that then?
With the Steelers?
Yeah, do you think they're in a little bit of trouble now? Because Juju, he played well as the number 2 guy, but that was with the top corner and usually double coverage on AB, with Juju kind of picking up the scraps. How do you think that team is with him filling in at number 1 and without Lev Bell? I know he wasn't there last year, obviously, but...
And they also, they let go of Jesse James this offseason.
No, stop. It doesn't matter.
It does.
Vance McDonald is a better
They
tight end.
re-signed Eli Rogers. That's all that matters. I always want to have them fall off the face of the earth. The Steelers are one of those franchises that you love them or hate them. Or, I respect them. I don't necessarily love the Steelers very much, but I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening this year. I think it's tough to be the number 1 drawing double coverage. I like Smith-Schuster. He's still super young. He's had some durability issues. They're a team that might be in the market for a new running back, because I'll tell you, James Conner played well last year for the first 6 games, but then it's hard to sustain that. He did not have a great second half of the year. It'll be interesting. Big Ben is like the fountain of youth right now. He seems to be getting bigger, fatter, more
better.
obnoxious, but for some reason he's still throwing for 400 yards a game. Is that Antonio Brown? Is it Juju? What is it? Well, we'll have to see, but they always seem to have some players. They always seem to put it together. They've got good coaching. The organization is strong, so they always seem to find a way. They'll probably find some sleepers in this draft. Never count them out, but I think they're going to have a tough year. This might be one of those years where you're like, the Steelers are going to finish 7-9. Ben's going to hit the road, and it might be rebuilding time at that point.
But, one thing that keeps this team constantly in the mix is their GM, Kevin Clobber, he's always seeming to pick the right guys in the draft. He's great with that. The Antonio Brown trade, though, I think distracted everybody from the fact that Pittsburgh lost a lot on their offensive line this year. They really took some hits there in free agency. That's something I worry about because, like you said, James Conner really started to show I mean, he wasn't playing at the same level late in the season, and now it seems like they're going to be coming in behind a worse offensive line with an older Big Ben. That worries me a little bit more than the Antonio Brown thing, I think, right now.
Yeah, I would be nervous. It all starts, the ball always starts under center. You have to protect the quarterback. You have to have a good offensive line to do that. And you look at these teams that are successful, and with the exception of the Patriots, because for some reason they seem to buck all the trends, but you look at the teams that are successful, strong offensive and defensive lines. I mean, the game starts there, and the battle is won there.
Well, we used the example earlier, in Indianapolis. They came out of nowhere. They didn't allow a sack for, 8 games or something like that? And they made it to the playoffs, made a little run. And it's all because of their offensive line.
Talent-heavy roster.
And they had a hurt. T.Y. Hilton, their number one receiver, was hurt all year. They still got in there.
Yeah, but you know what? When Andrew Luck has got 5 seconds to make a throw, he can go through his progressions. He's not worried. He's not back there with alligator arms and just real quick feet. He's not like Fred Flintstone trying to running his car. It's amazing what happens when you give a good quality quarterback that type of time. I'm hoping that the Giants can give Eli a little time, because I still think Eli can make a lot of the throws. I don't think he can make all of them anymore, but I think he can make most of them that he has to. And let's face it, he's a smart enough guy that he's going to be able to make the throws and understand the ones he can't.
Is there any lineman you're loving Is there any lineman you're loving in this upcoming draft, or do you think this is a little weaker draft for the line?
I think it's really weak. There's that kid out of Florida. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he seems all right. I'm not really sold on him. There's Kobe Ford out of Oklahoma. I think he's a nice little player. This is a pretty weak offensive line draft. That's why I'm kind of glad the Giants pulled the move and got Zietler and are looking at offensive linemen on the free agency side of things, because boy, you're going to be able to find starting quality defensive ends and linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks well into round 4 in this draft. But offensive linemen, if you don't get the top 3 or 4, you're going to be left with a lot of who's.
Do you have any fear for Nick Bosa? He didn't play this year because of injury.
Yeah, but you know what? I look at it, he could have been back. But I think he did what he should have done. He said, listen, Ohio State did what they needed. I did what I could do for Ohio State. I showed enough on the field. I'm going to go get healthy, and I'm going to make my way towards my future. That's what college is about. College is about getting you ready for your future. His future is playing in the NFL. Not everybody gets that option. So what did he do? He protected his future. He did the right thing, in my opinion. He went, he got healthy. He looked great during the combine. He spent the time rehabbing the right way. He's going to walk in. He's going to probably be the first or second pick in the draft. No regrets there. If I was from Ohio State, I wouldn't hold it against him or anything like that. That's the modern day. You're seeing the guys sit out the bowl games now. They're not going to the Senior Bowl. There's all sorts of things people are doing now. But you know what? At the end of the day, you tear your ACL. Look what happened to Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown was a top 5 pick in the draft. He dropped down to the second round. You're talking tens of millions of dollars he lost because he played in the bowl game.
Now, did you see any clear winners of this free agency? Like, what team stands out to you that improved the most?
There's two. Actually, there's 2 that are glaring, and there's one that's kind of under the radar. The 2 glaring ones are Cleveland. Cleveland got better. That team is just really good. And if they can protect the quarterback for any amount of time, they're going to win a lot of ball games. They're probably the favorite to win their division. They may even be the favorite right now to win the league. That team is just stacked. I think the New York Jets, for the first time in the history of free agency, are getting
close,
an A.
Guys.
I think they got so much better. Le'Veon Bell they got at a steal. He got a pretty, in my opinion, a pretty average contract.
He got burned by his sitting out.
He got what he deserved.
Yeah, I mean, he got a lot of
He
guaranteed money. But
he hedged a bet on himself, and it didn't work out. But at the end of the day, he's getting $50 million to play football, and that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I can't complain there, I guess.
But they got better. They got some good offensive line help,
Shored up
which
that
is going to help
defense.
Sam Darnold. They picked up Jamison Crowder, who's a guy from Washington. I love when he can stay healthy.
Big slot guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jets right now are the best team in New York football, and that's sad for me to say, being a lifelong Giants fan. But
it's all right.
the
I'm
Jets
sure we'll
got a
manage.
lot better.
We'll manage to screw it up. You guys will have it back soon enough.
Listen, that's the beauty of the Jets.
Yeah.
That's why Giants fans love them. You know, I think a team that also did real well this free agency was the Lions. I think the Lions had a
They're
real
a
nice
sleeper,
free
yeah.
agency. They got Trey Flowers, I believe, and they picked up a couple other guys who are going to be instant players. I'm blanking on all the guys that they did pick up. Pardon me on that, but I know that they had a couple notable guys. They lost Ziggy Ansah. They obviously they filled up for him pretty quickly, but they had a real nice free agency. And honestly, if I had to pick a losers of the free agencies, I mean, you have to look at the Steelers and the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not? I mean,
You may be able to throw Miami up there.
Well, I think there's a plan. You gave up both teams gave up one of the top two wide receivers in the league for peanuts.
Yeah, and, I mean, virtually nothing. The Odell Beckham trade, yeah, obviously they got the first-round pick out of it, but there's a lot more they probably could have gotten. I wanted him to go to San Fran so bad. He's my favorite receiver in the league. I like Antonio Brown, but I think as far as upside's concerned, Odell Beckham is where it's at in football right now. That is the most explosive non-quarterback player in all of football, I think. I love that guy.
When he's on the field, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, even when he's not, we saw him put up, I think it was almost 1,500 yards in 12 games a couple of years back. This guy breaks games. It's unreal. I can't wait to see him in Cleveland, and he's with his boy Jarvis. I mean, that's the most exciting team in football to watch, and I think if there's any Browns fans listening, which I think there's probably a lot more now, but before 2 weeks ago, there's probably like 15. I think if there's any Browns fans listening, they're in for... I mean, they deserve it, They deserve this after everything they've been through.
And every touchdown that OBJ or Jarvis Landry scored, you're getting a great celebration. These are lifelong friends. I can't wait to just see him score and see what happens in the end zone.
The only caution I'll throw out there is this can all be derailed very quickly. A Baker Mayfield injury, an injury to Odell Beckham, that's all it takes. It takes one. It can be derailed, and listen, I hope the Browns are successful. I don't know one fan base that's been kicked in the teeth more than that fan base.
Yeah, they need this.
They deserve it. They deserve it. I hope they're successful. I hope Odell is. Odell gave the Giants some great years. He's off our plate now. We don't have to worry about a little bit of that baggage, but the man can play football, and I wish him the best. I hope he does well for Cleveland, and I think Cleveland is going to be, especially for the first 6-7 weeks, they're going to be must-see football.
And, I'm glad you're saying that because there's a lot of Giants fans coming out acting like they're only happy he's gone and it's not a real loss. But, I mean, I hate when fans are like that. It's like the Steelers fans that are pretending to be excited about the loss of Antonio Brown. You can't act like these guys aren't generational players, so I'm glad you're not taking that stance.
No, I mean, you can't. I mean, the guy made the greatest catch in NFL history, and he was wearing our uniform. You're going to see that in highlights for 30 years. I mean, he did well for promoting the franchise, so he deserves. He got paid. He's going to get a lot of money from Cleveland. I wish him the best.
Now, Clobber, we're probably going to wrap this up soon. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about what you have going on at 80K Fightwear? Get that out there.
Yeah, sure. Well, we, I am the owner. Me and my wife are the owners of 80K Fightwear. It's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu MMA apparel company that we started about 3 years ago. We do it all out of our house. We just do it for fun. We do all sorts of things from jiu-jitsu gis to shorts, rash guards, shirts. We do hoodies, soft shell jackets, all sorts of different stuff. We do it for fun. We really enjoy it. It's there's a lot of kind of crap out there for jiu-jitsu stuff and for MMA stuff, and we like to try to give people some good quality gear at a less expensive price. You know, you shouldn't have to pay arm and a leg for some of this stuff. So, we have a promo code that we use for people, and for anybody who's listening, if they're interested in taking a look, we have a 20% off promo code. Just use the promo code TURTLE, and that's TURTLE. Use that, you get 20% off. We've got stuff that's already marked down on sale. You'll still get 20% off of that. So anybody who's listening, if you're looking to get a new gi, a new pair of shorts, new rash guard, get 20% off, and we appreciate it. And, we're just a small business. We do it out of our basement. So we appreciate every sale we get out of people. We appreciate the time people spent, listening to us ramble about sports for a little bit. Ultimately nobody will know if anything we say means anything until the season's over, but it's still fun to talk about it.
Are you getting a lot of attention on your beer and jiu-jitsu shirts? I think those are clever. I like that.
Yeah, we've to be honest with you, I made those shirts because every Sunday me and the guys like to train in the morning, and then we'll go out by the end of the truck and we'll have a beer or two and just kind of shoot the shit and shoot the breeze, I should say. And it's just fun, and it just reminds you of the you do jiu-jitsu. Not everybody's going to be a world champion. Some people just want to feel like a champion for an afternoon, and if that means having a good hard training session and a cold beer afterwards, and that's pretty cool. We're actually going to be expanding that line a little bit. I've got some tank tops coming out. They'll probably be out by May. That'll be pretty nice. So we're again, we do things on a small scale. We don't bring in tons of inventory. We bring in just enough to service our clients. At least we try to, and it's fun. So yeah, we're hoping to extend that brand a little bit, but I live that lifestyle. I live the jiu-jitsu and beer lifestyle, so I figured it'd be stupid not to promote it.
Now, before we get you out of here, I need you to help me out here, Joe. These two guys, every episode, they're roasting me because I love the WWE, and I know you enjoy it too. WrestleMania is coming up. Will you tell these guys they have to at least give it a chance?
I'm not going to, Joe.
I just listen. I just want to let you guys know that I will be in section 111.
Oh, he's going!
Nick's actually been looking for somebody to tag along with, so
I can't get a WWE friend because these guys refuse to give it a shot. I grew up watching it. It's the best thing on TV.
Listen, here's the thing. You watch all these reality television shows that are on there. You see all these things, the Jersey Shore,
they watch The Bachelor,
the soap operas, all that drama shit. WWE was doing that before those guys even thought about it.
And they're athletes.
It's great athletes doing scripted or choreographed fights with scripted drama. If you were
saying
to
it's
have
fake.
that on a television show that was produced and edited like crazy, people would eat it up. It's fun. You want to have one of the most exciting times of your life. Go to a wrestling event. You can scream anything you want. Bloody murder doesn't matter. Everyone's just going to look at you like, yeah, that guy knows what he's talking about.
They'll start chanting it too.
No,
Listen, man.
I've been to I went to an event a couple years back at the Times Union Center, and it was a good time. I don't think it's something I like to watch on TV. I would maybe go to a local event. Maybe the four of us can go to one if they're ever back in the Albany area. I do have to ask though. Nick's favorite wrestler is the when Finn Balor dresses up as a bad guy.
No, Demon King. And no, he's not. I'm a big Seth Rollins guy right now.
Who is your favorite, Clobber? You gotta have one, Joe. Sorry, I keep messing that up, and that's whatever.
That's fine. Clobber's fine. I don't care. Well, I'll tell you right now. Nick is a wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling freak.
He's calling you a casual, Nick.
I watch wrestling Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night.
NXT is my favorite.
I'm missing some wrestling right now, but I'm DVRing it. I have Access TV, and New Japan Pro Wrestling is recording on Friday nights.
Oh my God, so you don't take a break.
I watch a lot of professional wrestling. And I'll tell you right now, my favorite professional wrestler out there is Adam Cole.
He's with our guy Bobby Fish.
He's with Bobby Fish, who trained at our gym.
Good guy.
Adam Cole's the man. He's the modern day Shawn Michaels. They'll see him on the main roster soon. The guy he's a phenomenal athlete. He's a phenomenal talent. He can talk on the mic, which is a lot of this, that sport of wrestling, that entertainment value of wrestling. A lot of that comes from the mic. But he tells a story in the ring. He's a great guy. Look for the up and up. He'll be somebody you'll see on the main roster soon, and he'll be electrifying the crowds all over. But there's a lot of good wrestling. I watch a lot of it, so I have no problem talking wrestling anytime. And if you guys want to try to break down WrestleMania or any of those things, you just give me a call. I could spend hours.
It looks like we've got to start our own podcast, Joe. Ditch the losers.
How do you like Ronda in there? I know you probably watched her fight in the cage plenty. How do you like her transition?
She's been good, man. I'll tell you, she for someone who came from the UFC as a badass, she does a pretty good job of getting, selling, getting moves done to her. Her time's going to be up here pretty soon. Her contract is kind of finished. She's made no bones about the fact that she wants to start a family. So I think she's going to be leaving, but I think she's been good. She's brought more eyeballs into the product.
Dude.
At the end of the day, whether it's good publicity or bad publicity, it's still publicity.
I lost $20 a while back to Nick. It was Mark Henry versus John Cena. Mark Henry's supposed to be the strongest man on earth, clearly outmatches John Cena, and I made the mistake of betting on Mark Henry.
Well, hold on.
Do you think I was on the wrong side, or was that just a bad beat?
Let me give you the background here. I believe at this time John Cena was the WWE champion. It was a Monday Night Raw. There's no way John Cena's losing that match.
Mark Henry wins that fight every time. If that's a real fight, Mark Henry wins that fight every time.
Here's the problem. He couldn't see John Cena.
Oh, that's
man.
Supposed to be there.
That was a factor we were overlooking.
Man, I saw him drag a truck, like an entire tractor trailer. I was like, this is the strongest man on earth.
Well, yeah, he's got great combine strength, that
guy uses a keg like it's a Capri Sun.
He's insane. He's a monster, dude.
But
does he still wrestle?
No, he's retired now.
Well, that's why I don't watch it.
But this is
he retired.
But Timothy has seen it, and he's also said, those guys are athletes. That's one thing I do love about it. These guys, they're complete athletes. These guys are Brock Lesnar goes to the UFC. A lot of these guys played in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's just that's why I love it.
A lot of the guys, when they retire from UFC, they retire from Pride. They retire from, if you look at a lot of the guys in the New Japan Pro Wrestling, a lot of those guys, they start in the New Japan Dojo, which they teach shoot boxing, and they teach legit grappling holds. I mean, a lot of these guys are MMA fighters as well. They go and they fight. Sakuraba. Sakuraba's a perfect example. He's a guy who's fought in New Japan for years. He's been in the Japan wrestling circuit for 15 years.
Shamrock too.
The guy's the Gracie Hunter. Shamrock. I mean, Dan Severn. What's his name there? Oh God.
Yeah, Kurt Angle.
Blonde hair, huge black guy.
Oh,
regardless.
No, he's
Randleman.
Yeah,
Kevin Randleman.
Yeah, Kevin Randleman.
Kevin Randleman.
Rest in peace.
The list goes on and on. I mean, there's guys.
You got Bobby Lashley right now.
That they fight all the time. So I mean, these guys are tough dudes. I mean, Bobby Fish. You get on the mats with Bobby. Bobby will kick your freaking leg off, and he's a solid grappler.
Yeah, that dude was
Tough
very
guy.
talented in general in most things. Do you think there is a difference in performance from? I'm only bringing this up because we have his stuffed animal on the table. Do you think there's a difference in performance from Finn Balor when he's normal Finn Balor and when he's in his bad guy outfit?
Demon King. He's the Demon King. He's not a bad guy. They're talking
First
about.
off, yes, let's correct that. He's the demon.
Is he a better fighter as the demon?
If you followed his career,
He won the Universal title.
His name is actually Fergal Devitt. He used to be Prince Devitt in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he used to come out body painted all the time like that. When he came over to the States, he only did it on special occasions for NXT.
Didn't want to water down the
was
product.
when they were over in NXT in Europe, and he dressed up as Jack the Ripper. That was
that's
my favorite one
creative.
for him. But yes, there's a distinct difference. He's undefeated as the Demon King.
Won the
and
Universal
he
title
is
as the Demon King.
Very defeatable as regular Finn
So
Balor.
why wouldn't he make the full-time
That's-
transition
yeah,
and
that's
win
like-
more?
that begs the
There's a
question.
direct
Takes a
correlation.
toll on your
no,
body.
direct
It
correlation.
does not take a toll on your
I
body.
feel like if he wants to be successful, he should constantly be the Demon King and win more fights.
But thank you, Joe. I think these guys are going to tune into Monday Night Raw.
no,
It starts at 8
if
p.m.
you guys
on Monday.
If you guys want to go to a live event, I think we should all schedule something together.
The NXT's bound to be up here again soon. Or were they just here?
NXT comes quite a bit. They go down to Poughkeepsie pretty frequently as well.
Poughkeepsie sucks.
There's actually, if you guys are interested, there's they always do in Troy. They do these wrestling under the stars.
Is it
And
like
they
a local
usually draw a
circuit?
couple of big names. They do it right at the Joe, right outside.
When is it? When's the next one? We'll go. We'll make
it's usually-
a trip.
It's usually like July.
All right, we'll try to go.
Sounds
We'll
good.
try and get the gang together. We'll get out there.
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, and Joe, we're going to get these guys to be wrestling fans.
Maybe not, but I will go to the event. And the Monday Night Raw, May 21st is here.
Nick, I will obviously take you up on a wrestling podcast if you want to.
May
I know a lot about this shit. Unfortunately, I've watched it for a lot of years.
You should do it. We might have the birth of a new podcast. Monday night, May 21st. It looks like there's a wrestling event in
Monday Night Raw.
Times Union Center. Are you local around that?
Monday
Do you
Night
know?
Raw.
Do you know?
What day is it again?
Or May 21st. Do you know if you're going to be in the area?
My birthday week.
It is your birthday week. We have
Oh,
we have
boy.
to go.
You know what? I got to check, but I might be in Salt Lake City that week.
That's all right. We'll pick you up.
Oh, and
Well, I'll catch the red eye.
I'll bring my Ed Snow's head with me.
I don't know what that is.
I know you guys don't, but Clobber does.
Isn't Ed Snow the guy from Game of Thrones?
No.
You're thinking of Edward Snowden.
I think no, very different. Also, I think I hope it's the Demon King. I wish him nothing but success. I think Finn Balor needs to get his shit together though and kind of stick to that persona, or just fight better as Finn Balor if he wants to play both roles.
I hope he sling blades you.
But I don't know what that means.
There's a certain thing called pageantry, and that's what the Demon King is. It takes somebody special to pull that out of him, and he goes to the deep
It does.
bowels of his soul.
Seth Rollins
Shut up,
for the
Nick.
Universal title. He
Nick.
beat him. He tore his ACL and had to vacate the title.
Yeah.
Who
I mean-
tore his ACL? The Demon King or
Yeah.
Finn Balor?
Yeah.
Do they share
They share an
ligaments?
ACL,
They
yeah.
share the same body.
Okay, well, Tim and I tend to be more of Irish whip guys.
Yeah,
but
Chris-
that's a story for another
Chris
day.
and I also share the same body, but when he tears his ACL, I don't.
Joe, before
Yeah.
we called you, they were talking about how they have to tune into the last Bachelor episode
We
tonight.
do.
We do,
And I
listen,
can't get them to watch wrestling.
I like True Love more than I like guys who only are good at fighting when
There's
they're
true
dressed
love
up.
on that.
There's not true love on that. He's a better fighter when
yeah.
he's dressed up, and that's something that needs to be discussed. And
You go on YouTube right now and you look up Macho Man Randy Savage proposes to Miss
Yes.
Elizabeth, and you
Yes.
tell me there's not true love on
Yes.
wrestling.
you have the memory bank on this thing. I feel like we could get a lot out of you. We might have to have you on to discuss something
After
before it comes
WrestleMania,
out.
we'll do it.
After WrestleMania, man, I'm gonna get stuck watching it. That means.
Yeah,
Why don't
we'll watch it
why don't you
together.
guys- Why don't you guys call me during WrestleMania and I'll do a live stream
There
from
we
my
go.
seat.
We'll,
the insider
we'll
scoop.
have to set up the details on that, but I feel like it's something we could make happen. We did a live broadcast through a UFC event. I don't see why that would be any different.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, if you really want to start a wrestling podcast, get Dan Van Alst involved.
I know.
Oh
he's
man, you guys
huge.
on the same thing. That would
He
be
seems to have his
did
hands
I
that would
full-
be
his
hectic.
hands full
I think
already.
I just replaced the two of you.
Yeah.
Big night for Nick.
Well, Nick's a big boy now, so he needs big nights.
He's bringing the heaters.
All right, Joe, we'll see you. That was great having you on.
Welcome to the Big Boys Club.
All right. We are gonna wrap this up though, because we're probably gonna be getting out of here soon. I do.
Nick, I think I
man,
just noticed this now. Are you wearing a bathing suit? I couldn't let that go.
It's the only thing that fits.
Oh, man.
I do appreciate
We'll
you
talk
coming
off
on
air.
here and especially bringing the heat to end it with Nick. I think that couldn't have gone any better. I know we waited pretty much a year this time around. We can't make that mistake again. We got to get you back on soon. It's
WrestleMania.
always a good time.
Yeah, anytime, guys. I'm I'm always available. So just let me know, and I can duck out to my car like I am right now while the kids are sleeping.
Always available, he says, and he's constantly out of town traveling for work. This guy is a busy man. Don't let him fool you. Head over to what was it? Is it 80k or 80kfightwear.com? Is that what it is?
80kfightwear.com and use the promo code TURTLE.
They got a bunch
TURTLE.
They got a bunch of good stuff over there. Don't miss out on that, especially while it's on sale. Thank you again, Joe. I'm looking forward to having you back on again, and we'll hopefully go see a wrestling event soon.
Absolutely. I'll be there. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And let me know about that podcast, Nick. We can educate these guys.
Oh man. We'll have to come on as guests to that one. All right, thanks, Joe. Have a good night, man.
You guys can talk about the final rose ceremony.
All right,
tune in.
Leave
Tune
them
in
out
Monday.
of this. I think
Tuesday.
we're about to find out there was no final rose ceremony, but
Spoiler.
no, it was out Monday, Chris.
Yeah.
But I'm about to have my heart broken when we watch it, actually. So
Man, I had a horse in that race, but that's a story for another day, Joe.
all right, you have a good
All right,
night.
guys,
We'll
I'll
stay in
talk to
touch.
you guys later.
Thanks again, Joe.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
And Chris bringing up Facebook Live on his phone.
Oh man, what a character! I love that guy.
Yeah.
That was great.
I'm just happy I can get out of here. I can ditch the two losers.
He's very knowledgeable on a lot of things.
Yeah, he knows everything.
Yeah.
And when it comes to sports, he may know everything.
So
You can never catch
'Cause
that
he's-
guy off guard.
well,
He's always prepared for.
For anybody listening too, if you follow our page, he's always commenting about the draft and stuff like that. So it's just he knows all this stuff about the draft. He watches wrestling every night of the week.
yeah, and
Does
he's
this guy
always
have time
out
to run a
working.
company? Yeah.
I was talking to him yesterday, or maybe it was 2 days ago, but he had to stop talking because he was down in New York City, and he's like, "I'll keep an ear out on anything I can hear about football." I was like, "Dude, why are you like you're always out and about?" Busy guy to
Who are
also
you
be
around?
doing. Yeah. Great guy though. Thanks again, Joe, for coming on and chatting it up with us. I guess
Thanks for taking Nick off our hands. We've been looking for someone.
We've been looking to show him out. If you're listening and you would like to come on and talk about football, anybody, we have a vacancy.
This is going to my new set, so
No, but definitely head over to 80kfightwear.com, promo code TURTLE. Take advantage of that. Thanks
Chris,
again.
how do you spell turtle?
Nick, can you spell turtle?
TURTLE.
Ding, 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 ding.
Thanks, Joe.
No, 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 no.
No, so thank you again. We do appreciate that. Also, new sponsor alert.
Wah, wah.
I don't think that's the sound.
Wah, wah.
Introducing for the first time ever.
Don't do it in your movie trailer voice.
New sponsor.
So
featuring Tim.
we would like to give a little shout out to our friends over at Thrive Fantasy. It's you guys have probably played some DFS before, right? Daily Fantasy. I know you've seen me do it with
Yeah.
Yahoo League.
I did a little bit with that.
Well, Nick always
Yeah.
texts us that he's DTF, but not. I don't know about
Not
DFS.
DFS. Yeah.
This
to
guy
fish.
loves fishing. Yeah.
I'm always out fishing. You guys know that.
But basically this is a daily fantasy app, but instead of choosing select players, you get a set list of prop bets to choose from, and you have to choose the over under on 10 prop bets and your 2 in case of emergency bets in case of a tie. It can be anything. Right now they have basketball going on. They're working on baseball. They'll have football when the season rolls back around. But right now there's things you can bet on. I mean, one of your picks can be a Paul George point over under. I had Aaron Gordon rebounds and assists over 9.5 yesterday. It's things like that. You basically go through, select 10 prop bets that you like with the over under. The list is there, and you pay to enter a pool, and it seems like the top 12 get paid depending on the pool. Unless there's head-to-head pools, there's 44-man pools, there's 10-man pools. I've got everything there. Definitely something I have never seen before in betting. It's a very unique setup.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it.
Yeah. So if you guys want to try it too, again, it's not like anything I've seen before, so it's definitely something fun. I'm looking forward to kind of exploring that and seeing what ways I can rob them of their money, hopefully. And
I'm sure they've already got my money.
they probably do.
Yeah.
You probably already
They
paid
have a
them.
hold on your account, actually.
And if you want to head over and get some extra money to spend, you use promo code DORKS, DORKS, and any deposit over $10, they will throw an extra $10 in your account. They're a new company. They got a lot coming out, and I'm sure they're just going to keep adding to it as they develop. So use promo code DORKS, get an extra $10 on your deposit as long as you deposit over 10, or I guess a minimum of 10. and just head to the App Store, Google Play, anywhere. Download the app.
We
start
can get
making
him
money.
to start playing it now.
We could probably
Yeah.
get Chris. to
'Cause
start
he
playing.
always-
It's only $10.
It's
yeah.
$10. You can throw $10 into it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
obviously, if you want to play more than $10, throw in as much as you want. I don't care. Go in and cash in. Let's rob the place together. Maybe we'll start looking in and making some picks every night or something like that, and I'll
Tell him the dork sent
put
you.
him out. Yeah, tell them the dork sent you. All you have to do is use your promo code DORKS, extra $10. Why not, right?
And trust me, they'll know.
Don't
So
be a
that's-
dink. Go
That's
to
Thrive Fantasy, THRIVE Fantasy, all one word, in the App Store, the Google Play Store. Head over, download it, make some money. Good people over there, very, very friendly to work with. I'm looking forward to seeing. Hopefully, you guys make us look good to them.
me. You
Anyway,
looked at me.
yeah.
Because
No, you're on your way out the
Specifically
door.
oh wait, no, they're
so,
gonna love me. I'm gonna be their
They're
favorite
gonna
customer.
love you because
Yeah.
you're just gonna keep giving them money. That's gonna be good. So pretty much, it looks like you can follow people on there. Look at what Nick's picking and
Just
go
do the
opposite.
opposite.
Yeah, and you're probably gonna hit at about
It's
an
gotten to the
80%
point-
pace.
so
Try and end
every-
up with a bracket with him all the time because
But every day,
guarantee you're
You
not
can't come
finishing
in
last. Yeah.
every day, Timothy used to send me pics because we were betting together. It was fun. I went on this terrible losing streak for what would you say, 2 months? I was
Yeah,
losing every
and
bet.
every time you played a bet, I would get it wrong.
Yeah,
too.
so now you're like, oh yeah, like my bets don't work. I just can't tell you what my bets are anymore.
Yeah, and long story short, you lost your house.
I lost everything, Chris.
That's why he's got the crooked glasses on.
Yeah.
He actually
They beat me up.
That was a casualty of our basketball games.
Hey, got the rebound.
All is fair in love and war.
Didn't get the dub though.
No,
But,
my partner wasn't hustling.
We had hustle. I think we
Hustle.
played well.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
had
yeah.
chemistry. We
Hustle.
had
Yeah, I think honestly,
hustle the
this
second
year,
place though.
I mean, I know it's only one day, but it was a good day of basketball.
I
Guys.
think I'm
It
coming
was.
for
This
it.
is going to be a good year.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be a solid year.
I think
Everyone's
we have
up
a
their
lot
game,
of
I think.
competitors for
Yeah.
the throne this year.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think so. I think I really showed
This
my.
was kind of the preseason because
Yeah.
there's gonna be some time before.
Once
the
we get
regular
that backboard
season
As
fixed and it's
soon-
not completely curved.
Once we shoot it out, once we shoot out of it,
Once we start
fix
hitting the
that
backboard
spine.
enough
yeah.
so it straightens out.
As soon as the game was on the line, the real MVP woke up, and
Yeah, and I
that's
just
fine.
couldn't miss.
That's fine. Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah. So, thanks to Joe. Thanks to our sponsors.
This is my last podcast, not making it to 100.
He might be out of here. Again, if anyone wants to come on, send us a message. Serious inquiries only.
You can take Chris's spot because we don't know what he's doing here.
Yeah, it's looking like I'm gonna be out of people. So, if you guys don't want this to be a one-man show, hit me up.
You guys remember what he said Finn Balor's Demon King's name was?
No,
Because that name was so good.
you should remember, Mister. I love the Demon King.
I didn't follow
You
him in
love
Japan.
bad guy Finn Balor.
No, he's a good guy.
He's not, but he's a better fighter when he's a bad guy.
No one
watched-
named the Demon
I
King.
It's on
watched-
his back, dude.
I watched
He looks like
NXT
shit.
before
He's
I
got
came
a
here.
tramp stamp.
I watched NXT before I came here.
Is tramp stamp like socially acceptable to say, or is that like a bad thing?
No, you're slut shaming.
I don't think it's slut shaming. I think women can be as sexually active as they want as long as they're being safe. But I think that could definitely still be called a tramp stamp, right?
I don't think that's
I
a
don't
tramp
think
stamp.
I'm
That's
stepping
too
on
high.
any toes. No, dude, that's right above his ass
No.
crack. Yeah,
Nope.
He wears his underwear
That's
low,
not
like
drawn to scale.
like the bust down Tatiana guy.
Oh, God.
Blue face.
Blueface.
Oh,
Blueface.
dogs are here.
No one wears his pants lower than Blueface. That being said, if you guys want to wear your pants like Blueface, intermission. We have animals.
Well-
in case anyone didn't know.
I think that's good cue to wrap it up.
Yeah, the dogs are calling game. They got ice in their blood.
It's their turn to record their podcast. They use the same equipment, and
She's afraid of the Demon King.
who wouldn't be? Yeah,
Go upstairs.
you know,
She is very
you can
scary.
say he's a good guy all you want, but he
He's scaring
scares
Snow.
dogs. Yeah,
He's scaring
No.
our
Oh.
little lady dogs.
Snow couldn't find which door to go in. Outside.
Man,
Because
he
you guys
looks
switched
fucking
the side.
stupid. Why is he grimacing though?
Can you-
Above his mouth.
Wrap it up.
Why is he grimacing
Wrap
above his
it up.
mouth?
Don't throw him.
ah,
Why? What's he
Fuck
gonna
It's a
do?
collector's item.
fuck him.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's like $4.
This was we got this at $5 below.
Yeah, you guys bought it for $4.
No.
20 years, it's gonna be worth
No.
$4.50.
No, it's not. Thanks for tuning in to episode 93. Thanks again to Joe Cashin and our sponsors. We are very excited for more episodes to come. Today is Friday. Go have a baller weekend. Man, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud and YouTube by just searching Sports Dorks Podcast. Facebook at Sports-Dorks. You can find me on Twitter at Timothy J. Chura and Instagram at Tim_Chura. I don't think you need anyone else really because they don't.
No,
I mean,
you don't.
you don't want to look at their Instagram. Chris is kind of ugly, and I don't think Nick posts ever.
Okay.
all right.
If you want to play games with Chris on Xbox, actually, it's
No.
Padded Relic.
Yep.
And I guess we'll throw Nick out there. Nick Kappas on Instagram.
This is the song that I'm playing this weekend. This is my weekend song.
Is it?
Yeah.
And
This is such a Gone Fishing type song.
and for
DTF.
and from the
Nick's on spring break.
from the Hawk, the Cashier, and the Old Pony. Have a good weekend.